Dogen puts the whole problem and the escape in a few lines. To study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. If you're not happy lately, your mind probably never settles, even when your life isn't a disaster. You wake up and your brain starts scanning what's missing, what needs fixing, who's ahead of you, what you should have done earlier. Even when something goes right, you feel it for a second. Then your attention slides to the next worry. So you end up living in a contradiction, where your days are full, but you still feel empty. And you've probably tried the usual moves. You buy something small for a hit of relief. You plan a better routine. You promise yourself you'll be more grateful. But the feeling keeps returning because the habit runs deeper than your intentions. Your attention's been trained to look for the next problem. Peace starts feeling suspicious, and lack starts feeling normal. Japan has two practices that deal with that habit directly. One is Kansha, gratitude practiced as an action. Another is Hansei, honest self-reflection that turns mistakes into adjustments. Kansha pulls the camera back so you notice what's holding you up. Hansei tightens your choices so you stop repeating what keeps stealing your calm. In this video, we are going to use Kansha and Hansei to retrain your attention, so happiness feels less random and more in your hands. Kansha is written with two characters. Kan means to feel, to sense, to be moved. You can see the heart element sitting at the bottom of the character. Sha means to thank or apologize. It's speech on the left and shoot or arrow on the right. Put them together and the image becomes clear. Think of an arrow leaving a bow. It is a release of tension. So Sha isn't just saying words. It is releasing the feeling from your chest. You feel the gratitude clearly. And then you release it towards the person, instead of keeping it locked inside. This action is the antidote to the modern mind. A lot of unhappiness is your attention shrinking. When your mind feels threatened, it zooms in on you, and your problems, and your future. Kansha widens the frame again. It reminds you your life is being supported by 1,000 things you didn't personally build. Picture a small scene that shows Kansha better than a definition. You're eating fast, half present, already thinking about the next task. Then you pause for one breath, and you say, "Itadakimasu" under your breath. Most people translate it as, "let's eat," but the literal sense sits closer to, "I humbly receive." You're receiving food and all the work behind it. Zen communities recite a meal verse that starts with a line that's almost blunt. First, 72 labors brought us this food. We should know how it comes to us. That's Kansha in practice. It's plain, accurate, and it keeps your ego in check. Here's how to use it tomorrow morning. Kansha works best when it's tiny, specific, and tied to the same points each day. A longer gratitude journal works for some people, but a 1-minute ritual survives for most. So try this Kansha drill. When you touch your first drink of the day, water, tea, coffee, anything, slow down for 3 breaths. Ask one question and answer it out loud. What had to be true for this to be in my hands right now? Keep the answer concrete. Think pipes, electricity, a farmer, a driver, a cleaner, your past self who paid the bill. You're teaching your brain to notice support, not just absence. Then add the second part, the part that makes Kansha feel Japanese instead of generic. Choose one person you're tempted to treat as background, someone who makes your day easier in boring ways. Maybe it's a parent who does support work, a friend who checks in, a co-worker who covers a shift, or a teacher who gave you a skill. Send one clean line of thanks while it's still ordinary. That's how Kansha becomes something you do on purpose, day after day. And here's the harder version for rough days. Pick one frustration you keep replaying. Then look for what's still supporting you inside it. If you're stressed about work, it means you've got work. If you're tired from studying, it means you're still learning. If you're lonely, it means you still want connection. Kansha can sit beside pain without letting it turn your whole life into a complaint. There's also a phrase you'll hear in Japan that carries this worldview. Oka gaisa made. It's a humble way of saying you're doing well thanks to support, thanks to kindness, thanks to what's holding you up. It pulls you out of the fantasy that you did everything alone. And there's data behind this too. A 2025 meta-analysis in PNAS that reviewed 145 studies across 28 countries found gratitude interventions produce small improvements in well-being on average. It's a small lift, and small lifts add up. Kansha softens your attention. Hansei tightens your choices. Hansei also uses two characters. Han carries the sense of turning back, reversing, facing the other way. Sei means to look back, to examine, to reflect. So Hansei is turning back, then examining what you did, without excuses. In Japan, Hansei shows up everywhere, from school routines to martial arts to company life. Toyota's famous for it. Teams hold Hansei meetings after projects, even when the project went well, because they treat no problem as a warning sign. Within the process, no problem is itself a problem. If you can't name an issue, you probably didn't look closely or push hard enough to expose one. Take that idea out of factories and bring it home. Plenty of unhappiness comes from repeating the same handful of habits that drain you, especially comparison, sleep debt, and the constant renegotiation of your own promises. Hansei is how you stop acting surprised by the results of your patterns. One rule before you start. Hansei is reflection with forward motion. If you replay the day only to punish yourself, you aren't doing Hansei. You're practicing suffering. Think of a young trainee in a dojo. He loses a sparring round, and his first instinct is to blame the other person. The teacher doesn't argue. He asks one question. Where did your feet go when you panicked? That question is Hansei at work. It turns drama into data. Here's a Hansei routine you can do in 5 minutes at night. Keep it simple and honest. Start by writing 3 quick facts from your day and keep them plain. Include one moment you handled well, one moment you didn't, and one choice you made on autopilot that you'd rather not repeat. After that, answer 2 questions in writing. What did I do today that made my life heavier? And what did I do today that made my life lighter? Then choose one adjustment for tomorrow that you can actually keep. 10 minutes earlier to bed. The message you've been avoiding. A short walk without your phone. Or 1 page of focused work before you open anything else. Your mind learns faster when you change one thing and watch what happens. That adjustment is what turns Hansei into training. Without it, you end up with self-criticism that feels productive and changes nothing. This is where Kansha and Hansei lock together. Kansha adds warmth to the review. Hansei adds honesty to the gratitude. Together, they create a mind that can hold good moments fully and still correct the habits that keep breaking those moments. If you want a simple order, do Kansha first and Hansei last. Kansha in the morning widens your frame before your day starts attacking your attention. Hansei at night clears the clutter before sleep. Try it for 7 days. In the morning, take one Kansha pause during something ordinary. Your first sip, your first bite, your shower, your commute. At night, do 5 minutes of Hansei, where you write 3 facts, answer 2 questions, and pick 1 adjustment. You're building steadier joy and a steadier mind. A mind that can notice what's already good, and a mind that can stop repeating what keeps making you miserable. Dogen's line works because it's practical. When you're trapped inside the self, happiness feels impossible. Kansha helps you forget the self by widening your view. Hansei helps you study the self by telling you the truth. Practice both, keep them small, and keep them constant. That is how you stop waiting for happiness and start building it. As always, thank you for watching.